Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to a legitimately very good friend of mine, a trader, someone I've worked with, someone that actually helped my nephew with his sales career and just worked with him and has done a lot already for RLT as far as ideas and idea creation. He's an amazing trader. He's an incredible part of the community. He's both a husband and a father. He's a real life trader. He has a business that he works in. He does so many things for so many people. So I want to introduce you all to Richie Sowell. Now, not only are all these things accurate, but also he's had a very, very interesting trading career. And for a lot of you, if you've ever gotten kicked in the absolute face and mouth and teeth by a horse, you're probably going to want to listen to Richie so that you can understand how the mindset impacts you to not give up and to continue going forward. Did I get it close, Rich?
Yeah, especially with the horse and the teeth.
So tell us about these biotechs that you bought. What was that about?
Oh, so biotechs, yeah. Couple years ago, probably 3 years ago, one of my childhood best friends, he primarily only trades biotechs. And I kept telling him I wanted to invest, and he works with a guy that's self-made trader, doesn't do anything online or anything, but he's actually pretty good at it. And he was like, man, I'll help you. We'll do it together. We'll make some good money on this. I was like, all right. So I started out with, I think, $5,000 I put into this account, and it couldn't have been any better. The first 2 or 3 trades we did, I ended up getting up to about 25,000, and we started setting rules. Well, one of them was don't hold over a catalyst. Well, about year 1.5, we decided we were going to hold over a catalyst.
No, catalyst being earnings, or like an FDA announcement, or what?
An announcement, yep. So it was an announcement. Exact stock is ONCS, and they had some promising news coming out, and it was doing well. Our cost was in low, and what's funny is I don't even think I'd be profitable now.
Brutal.
Thing. Yeah.
What a
So
dumpster fire.
we're buying in, we hold over, and it just tanks. Then they do a dilution. So that even hurt us more. I had like 22,000 shares, went down to 1,200 shares. And finally I was like, I'm done. I'm not trading anymore. I'm done with biotech. I'll just sit on this thing until it comes back. Eventually, if it comes back, I'll break even and move on. And that's when I found RLT and Jeremy. And I ate that 20,000 to start my trading career back with 5,000 with RLT. So,
oh man, that's a wild story, dude. And I think we've all been there, especially when you first started. For some reason, when you first start trading and you see one of these charts, you're like, oh man, if I buy it here, it'll go up to here. You know, like it's just what we think of as a natural thing. We're like, oh yeah, we're gonna get the bottom.
yeah,
This is it.
Yeah, exactly. I bought sometime in 2017, and I think it was 2017, and I was down. It hurt. I just quit looking at it because it hurt so bad.
Yep. Now, when you did that, like, were you researching the company, or is it just kind of one that you heard of or found of?
No. So my buddy Havard, he was my research guy. He knew what to look at. He knew where to go with it. And I was basically relying off of information from him. He understood it better, meaning Catalyst, what stage of FDA approval they were in, what drugs kind of they were coming out with and what they meant. And it was all reliance on him, and it was good information. Like everything he gave me wasn't wrong. We just literally broke a rule that bit us both in the butt.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why the rules are there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I should have eaten an onion or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so tell me about this, man. So you're both a husband and a father. How do you have time to trade? Because you also work. And I get the question all the time, man. I get the email. hey man, I can't be an RLT, dude. I got kids and a wife and a job. Like, I don't have the time to do this.
So to that, this is the hard nosed part of me, and I've kind of been calloused a little bit because I listen to a lot of David Goggins. Um, I say to that, that's a BS excuse. People can make time for what they want, and what they really want to do, and that's where I've differed this go round than any other go round. And I've told you several times, I'm really shocked at how well I've stuck with this because I have a tendency to fly by the seat of my pants on a lot of things. And I have put more time into trading between the hours of 8 and 10:30 than I've probably put in any of it during actual trading hours. And that was just my routine. But I made sure I made time for my family because I'm a big family man. I will not, nothing will come in front of them. And so I get my butt up early. I go to work. I come home from work. I spend time with my girls. We eat dinner as a family every single night at the dinner table. Like, I will not allow us to miss that. And then we may watch a little TV, play a few games, run around the house for a little bit. And when it's bedtime, I go straight to my computer and I watch. My routine is I watch the afternoon room. And now I don't trade very many stocks anymore. So I watch the first 10 minutes of your afternoon room, kind of get an idea on the overall markets, the broader markets. And then if I see one of my stocks that I'm either in or looking at is on the list, I'll fast forward to those and I watch those. And then I go back to what I'm already in and researching my stocks and planning positions, planning on where I'm either getting in or getting out.
Mhm.
And just making sure I'm following my plan. I've basically broke it down to very simple. What I do now is just buy off the blue line. That's
So what does that mean, buy off the blue line?
for me. It's
Okay.
the 100 simple moving average. If it touches it and it's one of my stocks, I'm probably going to buy it there. Um, I just put in orders on stocks I like, and if it feels great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, and if, for instance, all the stocks that I'm in not very many stocks now, like Amazon, Activision, FireEye, Pins, Redfin, and Zoom. The only one that I didn't employ that strategy on is Zoom. Everything else, I'm pretty much up in because of some similar or some reason because of the blue line deal. Even with this
Mhm.
big pullback this morning, I went down, but I was still positive across the board.
Right.
So,
Right. And that's one of the hardest things to do, I think, man, is like when traders have a portfolio that does this, like let's say it's growing, because you've done really well in trading in the last few months. We'll get to that in just a moment. But when you have this inevitable drawdown period, like that's the one that's so hard. It's really scary. It's frustrating. It's hard. It's annoying. It's tough to just not do anything through because you're already in the positions because, this can happen. But it's in that period of time where people freak out, wig out, and do something dumb. How do you avoid that happening?
walk away from it. I'm
Mm.
I'm very much a psychological trader, and if I let my emotions get to me, I'll do something stupid. Um, Stupid and it may be a good thing for stupid, like JD. What, last week I sold 2 days early, and I still realized 4.5 hours on it. But had I held the extra day, and it was almost out of boredom. Like, I just was like, man, I'm kind of over it. And you even told me don't sell it yet, but I did because I'm an emotional guy, and I was just aggravated with it, and it cost me, probably another 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
But the one thing I have gotten, I think eventually it may bite me because I'm only, as you know, I only do options. I don't do any shares. Um, I'll hold through some big pullbacks. Zoom being particular. At one point, I was down 20 grand on Zoom, and I'm just sitting back like, well, it's going to go higher. I'm not worried about it. It is what it is. Wherever it goes, it goes. That's kind of been how I am. Hopefully, one day that doesn't bite me, but eventually, um, I think it might. But it'll be a good learning experience when it does.
Oh, it'll bite you for sure. The question is just, can you make more on the winners than you do on that one loss? right? Not holding it too long and being able to capture it in. So, I mean, let's talk about Fastly. Tell people that story.
So if you look back around September, when was it? I bought it. No, August. Yeah, I bought it. Pretty much the all-time high in August. And sold it pretty much at that bottom blue line. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And that was just fear. That was before I had a real trading plan. I was kind of going off of things, and that ate up, I think that ate up like 20 grand, 15 grand. Now I ended up making it back on the very next run up, the big run up from September. But you know, this goes to show, like, having a plan, sticking with it, and don't let your emotionals get to you, because if you become an emotional trader to where you act out of emotions, you will absolutely have a rough life in trading. And I've said it a bunch: be active, not reactive. That's something that I tell myself almost every day, like, be an active trader, not a reactive trader. And I'm getting a lot better at it with your help and a lot of other people's help. Just talking to people, and it's helped me substantially. My last, like, December, I only made like 2 R's, but I'm already up 20 R's in January. You know, November I had a 30+ R month. So I don't make a ton every month, but like, it's like every other month, well, I'll have big months. So
Yeah. How do you pick the stocks that you follow?
a lot of them is a screener. I got it from our coaching session.
You're still using that one, huh?
Oh yeah, still using her. And then high growth stocks, like good companies. I mean, my main list is pretty simple: Tesla, Amazon, AMD, Activision, Zoom, Pins, Wix, AYX, Datadog, Redfin, JD, Fastly, Teladoc, Apple, Spotify, DocuSign. That's pretty much my list of stocks that I will normally trade.
Ooh, look at DocuSign.
I hadn't looked at it today.
There she is.
Ooh, blue line.
Blue line.
Blue line. I actually didn't have an order set up on it. Damn it.
I like it. Okay, that's good. That's a good location.
That is a great support, especially if you look back what it's interacted with the 100 recently.
Yep.
So,
yep, I agree.
I will start planning to see if we can pull back to it again.
Beautiful. Well, cool, man. So you have that list and you just kind of cycle through it. Now, what's your main time frame? Daily, hourly, 15-minute?
I trade all daily. I will use the 5-minute, the 30-minute, and the 1 hours to kind of help supports and just see what it's doing intraday. But I primarily trade off the daily, and then I use the moving averages on the weekly and the monthly just to check my positions.
Do you day trade at all?
None. I am not a good day trader.
How'd you find that out?
Lost a lot. It seemed like every day trade that I would play, I would get so excited that I'm in it. I would either pull too early, or I would just not have the patience to let the trade work. I think out of maybe 25 day trades that I've done, I may have won on 2 of them.
Got it.
And it's just because I don't have the patience to sit there and go, all right, set it. All right, make sure my setup's right. Let it work in a day trade. I feel like if I'm a day trade, I'm like, all right, well, I'll turn it into a swing, and that's part of the problem, because your day trade entries aren't necessarily good swing entries.
Got it.
So I make my money off of swing trading. I'm good at it. I've figured it out, what works for me. Don't confuse the situation more than you have to right now. Eventually, I'll probably get back into it whenever I make this a full-time career.
Yeah.
But as of right now, there's no need to. And two, I can get pulled away with work. I do have the luxury of having a job where I sit in front of a computer and I can watch it all day. But if I get pulled away into a meeting and I needed to do something, whether move a stop or, maybe pull the target down just a hair and go ahead and get out early, I may get pulled away and not be able to do that and end up getting stopped out completely, whereas I should have won.
Sure. Sure. No, that makes sense, man. That makes sense. And that's, it's wise to go down a career, go down a path and not force something, because I've seen a lot of traders actually make profits on, 3 different things. And there's this one thing that they're not making any money on. And they go, this has to work. And they just keep forcing it and forcing it and forcing it. And they just keep losing and losing and losing, because now it's a mindset thing. Now it's like, I have to do it. And a lot of times it's so much easier to just cut that out. Focus on what you're good at. Use your time that you save from not doing what you're bad at. Build your account up and go do something else cool.
Yeah, I mean, something resonated very well with me at the in Nashville retreat. Matt said I took 8 trades and made however many R's that month or that week or whatever it was. And he goes, and I watch a lot of you guys grind with maybe 50 trades to make the same amount of R's. And I'm like, well, in my head, I'm like, all right, I like to play too. So if I can set something, walk away and let it do itself over a little bit of more time, but I don't have to be so active towards it, that works for me.
Mm-hmm. Ditto. Yeah, man. I totally agree. And that was back here also, back in that little pullback on Tesla. I heard you made some money on Tesla.
I did very well. I'm probably the only person that hasn't made money on Tesla from 5 something all the way up to now.
You're the only person, but it's okay.
Well, if you remember, the only reason I should have made more money on Tesla, but back at the retreat, I did an overnight swing, made a couple quick R's, and then started building a position, but I got in too high. And I had to work my way down. So I held Tesla from September all the way to November when I finally got out. And I was down the entire time until that big gap up and pop. And but then I had a hedge against it. So those were January calls and I was getting nervous. Thank God it popped when it did. And I sold, made some R's there. And then I had a March hedge a June hedge, June calls. And I sold, somewhere right in there where your mouse is at now, for a nice profit. But yeah, my thinking was, all right, I made my money. Don't get FOMO. I haven't found a real pullback that I liked enough to get back in, because it is extremely high. You've said it 1,000 times. You have no idea what this thing is going to do because we've never been here. So my thinking is, well, why am I going to get in around 850, 900? And if this thing goes back to 500, I'm stuck holding a bag that can expire on me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just patiently waiting. And like you've always said as well, is there's so many other stocks you can make money on. Go do it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Don't stress out too hard about it.
Yeah.
What conversations have you had with your wife about all this, man? Because I mean, that's another thing we got to talk about. Is there's so many traders that face someone, they're in a relationship, they have a family, and that conversation, that communication can be scary and challenging and in a way terrifying. So how did you go about just speaking openly with your wife about how much you want to trade, how much you like trading, and how you guys manage your finances?
So at first it was a rough conversation, because when she hears stock trading, and she comes from a very traditional family of have no bills, take no risk, conservative, which is great. However, I'm not afraid of taking risk. My life has been a risk, taking risk the entire bit of my adult career, whether it be commission only sales or whatever. So I'm comfortable with the risk, and I'm comfortable with a higher tolerance of risk. So when I first started talking with her, she was like, you can't use all of our money. Like, if you lose it all, we're screwed. Like, what are you going to do? And I just basically explained to her, first off, it's a little bit different now because I'm putting in the time and studying my tail off and working with you, who, as you know, we had a lot of hours going into a lot of our studying, whether it be private coaching sessions or just random text at 10
Yeah.
o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Um, and she saw that. So, and I think that helped. Like, she saw me putting the time in and studying my tail off and really wanting to do this. So when I told her, hey, eventually I'm going to be a career trader, like, this is what I will do. I will retire from my job and I will just trade. It
Damn.
actually made it easier of a conversation
Yeah.
because she understood, okay, well, he's not just saying this and not really doing anything about it. He's putting his time in. And she respected that. So it made the conversation go easier than if I was just like, hey, by the way, I put all of our money into a trading account and I'm going to quit my job. You know, that conversation would have probably been like, you're an effing idiot. Go back to work.
Right. Right. But yeah,
So
you spent the time, man. I mean, you spent the time. What would you say the two most impactful things for you in your studying? Because you mentioned you studied your face off for hours every day. What were the two most impactful things in your studying that helped you?
so probably the most, because I'm such a visual learner, the most impactful thing for me was the first 2 months of RLT. I basically took no trades. I
Mm.
watched everything y'all did, whether it be the swing room um, or the day room. I watched the day room just to learn what things meant. Like, you can tell me, hey, this is a morning star reversal, and I'll never learn it until you go, hey, this is a morning star reversal. Watch it happen. And then I'll figure it out, like, oh, okay, I get it. So I watched all of that. And I joined, I believe, in April, and I took my first trade May. Um, I wasn't very much trading in May. I think I made 2 Rs in May. And then June, I kind of ramped up. July was pretty much full bore for me. And so that entire time, I watched every video that was posted. I would go through charts. That was also at the time we were having our coaching sessions. So I was trying strategies that you were giving me in our coaching session, and I just chose which ones I liked best and which ones worked. And I've just kind of studied more into that nature of expertise. So, like, for instance, the covered call strategy, right? My first covered call was BYND, and I got in at 152. I bought 100 shares, um, probably in
Somewhere in here.
yeah, yeah. And then I didn't get out of it until September or October.
Yep.
So, but I ended up, making quite a bit of money on the covered call strategy and lowering my dollar cost average, so that when I eventually was called away, I was very profitable. But the one thing I didn't like about it was your overhead, essentially, for that much time, you know, was substantial. 150, it was $15,000 to have 100 shares of BYND, when I could use some options instead and keep my overhead down and probably make the same money or more. So that's why then I started, all right, well, let's start focusing more on options trading. And I started learning more of those strategies. And between the first 2 months and coaching sessions, the most impactful week of my trading career was hands down the retreat in Nashville.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That literally changed it for me, because I got to sit next to you and everyone else, and I got to talk with everybody and hear their strategies, hear their rules, tweak my rules to, hey, that's a good rule. That's a good rule. I'm going to add that to mine. And from then on, I became a very patient trader, which up to then I was far from it. Um, and it calmed me down to the point where I was like, okay, I can do this. I get it. I see all these other guys and gals doing it. Like, there's nothing stopping me from doing this except for myself. So if I'm really going to do this, you know, focus, bear down, perfect your craft, and get after it. And that's the type of person I am. I'm not afraid of losing. I think you have to learn to lose before you can win. Like in especially sports, I have a sports background, and I don't think it's any different than trading. Like, had I not taken some of the big losses that I took just by screwing up Teledoc, buying
Oh boy.
12 contracts instead of 2 on sheer accident. And the second that it bought those contracts, it tanked and I couldn't catch it. You know, like little things like that. But you learn, and you pay your tax, you pay, and you learn from the mistakes, so that now I don't make those mistakes anymore. Knock on wood, but I'm pretty good about not making mistakes and how to figuring my systems and figuring what I like to do. So in my trading day, I trade off the Thinkorswim and the TD website. So I use both every day. I like the visual of my positions on the TD website, but I set up all my trades in Thinkorswim. So it works for me.
Love that. What would you tell the people who don't really believe that they can make money in the market?
Forget what you think and put in your time. Reach out to RLT. I push RLT. My best friend, he goes, dude, you sound like a salesman for him. I was like, man, I have zero invested in this. Like, I get nothing out of it. I didn't sign up for the accounts where if somebody signs up for you, like, I was like, man, I don't want anything from it. I said, I'm just literally trying to help people. Because it gives you something that, yes, you can go out and be a profitable trader on your own. My dad, for instance, me and you've talked about my dad. My dad is a very profitable trader. He will not listen to anything you say. However, he's profitable. It works for him. But that's a one-off type situation. For a lot of people, they need direction and a feel of community. That's one thing that RLT 100% gets. Like, I see it in the chat pane from Woodshed and Steven, met some new good friends. I feel I've met lifelong friends just from that retreat. Me and Woodshed went golfing. Me and Steven had more talks, and he lectured to me about me wanting to have a bigger R. And I listened. I did not up my R. And we've kept in touch some. I've got traders that I speak with on Slack on a daily basis, that I trade with on a daily basis. And being out there with a community is so much better than being out there by yourself. It's no different than any team sport. When you're on your own, being a pitcher, for instance, pitcher is the loneliest sport or loneliest position on the baseball diamond. You are out there by yourself and everything is weighted on you. However, the rest of that team's around you, and being by yourself can be scary. You have nobody to bounce ideas off of, but community, especially this one, I mean, I don't feel scared or anything about bouncing any idea, even if I know it's going to be a pure dumb one. I've asked you some dumb questions in my career, and you never once were like, dude, you're an idiot. Like, I'm sure you wanted to.
No, I've said that before. Well, let's be honest.
That was other dumb questions. But so RLT is really a community that, they do care about everybody. It's not a pump and dump society. It's not a let's see how fast we can get rich. And yeah, everybody wants to make money, but everybody helps each other. And that's what's so great about it.
Love it, dude. Thank you for that, man. That's awesome, because it's a team sport. Like the whole trading thing, like everyone's going to have their own way to do it, but it is just better to be around people that are doing this, because again, I would argue, let's find this out. Type a 3 into the chat pane if you either are full-time trading or you want to be a full-time trader. Like you want that to be your job. You don't want to go to work. You don't want to press any button. Like you want to be a full-time trader. So there we go. I mean, literally the chat pane's going bananas. So the thing is, if you want to do something full-time, my suggestion is hang around people who do it full time. It's definitely not going to be everyone, right? It's not going to be all the people. It's not going to be every single person you interact with is profitable and everyone's making money, everyone's kicking butt. But the point is, you can connect yourself with some people like Rich, who is going to trade full time. That will be a career for him. And it might be a year or two away. That's fine. But what he's doing right now is he's stacking, right? He's lowering costs. He's lowering expenses. He's telling his family in advance. He's putting in the time. He's at every webinar that he can be at. He asks questions. He interacts. He does the things he needs to do. And you're on a journey where I feel like you are totally okay to take risks. You're absolutely okay to be down. You're going to lose on positions, but you're also going to make sure that you win more on those positions than you lose. And you're absolutely okay with investing in yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I walk into a room and at the retreat, I even said it to a couple people. I was like, I have zero problem being the dumbest guy in the room. I'm going to learn the most at that point.
Yep.
You know, and that's kind of the way I look at this whole career of learning trading. Is there's nothing wrong being the dumbest person in the room, as long as you're willing to lose the ego of thinking that you're not the dumbest person, and you're willing to listen and learn and put those techniques to play. If you're not coachable or willing to learn, it's going to be a tough road. But being coachable and really wanting to learn it and setting the discipline, or being disciplined to do the things that you don't want to do, can set yourself up for, you know, a lifetime of happiness and easy and just, heck, you can create generational wealth with this. And that's my game plan, is essentially create generational wealth and be able to go, all right, well, I want that new boat. I'll let Amazon pay for it this month, and that be it. And I don't have to, if I keep my job, if I continue to keep my job, well, I've just grown my income that much more. If I don't keep my job, I'll have replaced it by trading, and I'm still in the same place as I was, with more freedom.
Yeah. Which is killer. That's so good point. It's about hanging around the people that you want to be around, hanging around the people that you want to be like.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have some of the greatest friends in the world, that do not pretty much have anything in common with me, and when it comes to trading. And then I have my trading friends that I consider some of the greatest people in the world. That, you know, I probably spend more time with them.
Yeah.
You know, look, like me and you talk, what, every day?
Yeah.
Once a day?
Yep.
You know, and that's one of those things. And sometimes it has nothing to do with trading and we're just catching up. And other times it's bouncing ideas off of one another, whether it be, hey, let's start mentorship groups. Oh, don't worry, I got that one in the plan already. All right, well, cool. I'm going to shut my mouth now.
Yeah, that was a great idea, though.
It was. It
Yep.
was. So, or, you know, psychology of trading. You know, there's a lot of those things that just being able to bounce things off of one another is a good thing to hear. And it's a think tank, I guess you would say.
Yeah, definitely. Have you done a mentorship group?
I have not.
Okay. Didn't know if you had or not.
I have not, just because I've been waiting. I don't know why I'm waiting. I need to just do it.
Hey, it's fine. I was just asking. I didn't know. I mean, I knew that you and I had, we've done a lot of working together, but I didn't know if you had done another mentorship session. I mean, it was your idea.
It was. You would think I might, you know, jump on the train.
It's too funny. But going back to that, the quality of life part, man, that's true, because here's what I've learned. And this took me a while to really, really let it sink into other people. But if you do trade full time, and for the first year or two, you probably won't make as much money that you are going to be at your job, but you're going to be happier. You're going to be more fulfilled. You're going to sleep better. You're going to be with your spouse more intently, and you're just going to be in a better place mentally. And if you're doing that, like, do you need the money? You know, you're just happier. Your quality of life is just simply better. Like, what do you need the money for? And then 3-4 years later, the money will come.
So when I said I took off for a week, just a staycation at home, and I saved more money sitting at the house and just trading than I did if I made went to work because eating out and spending gas and things like that. There's so much stuff you don't have to do. And it was like the greatest vacation of my life because I made quite a few R's trading. I sat at home, luckily for me, I still made money at work, but like I saved so much money. It wasn't even funny because I eat out every day.
Yeah.
And, just little things like that. If I'm home, I'll eat here at the house. If I'm out,
Sure.
I'll eat out.
Sure.
So
makes sense. I mean, that's a good point too. I mean, because those things can add up, and it's also just the time, rich people have money, wealthy people have time.
Yep.
So it's about having the time to do whatever you want to do at any point in time ever, just being totally fine, totally time free is incredible.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many other ways. Like for me right now, trading is a residual income. And I'm letting that residual income pay for my toys or pay for the betterment of my wife. She's starting her real estate career, and we're finally in a very comfortable position that we're allowing ourselves to our residuals are paying for our toys or our other things, and that's when you start seeing the real growth and the real freedom and the real wealth come into play.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I'm super excited about. Like I know I'm close, and one thing I've said to you, I know we've talked about it, is I don't want to quit my job and start a full-time trading until I've really gone through a bear market.
Love that.
That's another thing that goes into play. Like, yeah, trading is easy right now for the most part. Pretty much everything, buy low and then watch it go up. And I've never traded in a bear market. So I don't really, yes, I know how to buy puts. But to tell you the truth, if a bear market started tomorrow, I'd be like, all right, I feel like I'm starting over because I've never really only bought puts.
Right.
So I think I've bought 3 puts in my life.
Yeah.
Not 100% ready for it in my case, in my book.
Yeah. No, totally. I can respect that. And but that's good to know, man. I mean, you can recognize and see, oh, wait a minute, the market's just going straight up. I don't really day trade that frequently. So I want to make sure that I'm doing it the right way. I don't think I should be just jumping in and just loading up boats on any particular stock right now.
Yeah.
Or, I shouldn't quit my job to trade full time because I don't have massive amounts of experience doing it.
Exactly. Well, and that part of the biggest thing for me, and that I've learned it just through being in such a sales business and sales career my whole life, is being able to recognize your strengths, your downfalls, and setting plans. If you can do that, I mean, that alone will help your trading career. If you put it into a trading background and things like that, because I can sit here and tell you, yeah, I'm a great trader, and in reality, I'm probably a mediocre trader at best, because right now, great traders, there's a lot of great traders out there that this market is making them look exceptional.
Yeah.
So being able to be humble and recognize those things and tell yourself those things is a huge aspect. And I think it's a big plus if you can do that.
100% agree, man. Totally agree with you. That's a massive key, because when the market does just skyrocket, it does make you look really easy. But again, keeping in mind, we're all going to have times where we can take advantage of it and we can see it, but you're going to have to be there longer. And once you're in the markets longer, the cool part about trading, and really let this sink in, ladies and gentlemen, the really, really exceptional part about trading is there is no cap to how much you can make. None. You have the ability, once you know how this works, once you're really, really confident with the trading, once you're confident with the chart, once you really study the company, there is no limit to how much money you can make. If you want to make $100,000 in a day, that's possible. If you want to make $1 million in a week, that's possible. If you want to make $10 million in a month, it's possible. There's no limit. The upside is unlimited. The richest people in the world that you look up to, the vast majority of them have made their money from stocks or from publicly traded companies. So just always keep that in mind. It's good to propel you, to kind of push you and to excite you forward, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Same with commission sales, man. If you're capped in a commission sales, are you really going to bust your butt?
Yeah, good point.
You know, if you were capped in the real estate, would this be as exciting as it is?
Yeah, right. Right. Like if you could make unlimited amount and, you know, all those things with by doing this, by the way, you know, like the cool part, the alluring part about the stock market, there's no phone calls, there's no clients, there's no customers, there's no bills, there's no invoices, there's no licenses, there's no regulations, there's no continuing education, there's no gunshots, there's no driving, there's no cars, there's no people. It's just you and the machine. It's you and your brain. You get to remove so many of the frustrations and the pressures and the stresses of life and just trade and just be. I mean, it's amazing.
Absolutely. And when you're trading the right way, it's really stress free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it can be very stress free doing this, and that's the one thing I've gotten to, and it's nice. Like I don't freak out on the pullbacks like I did 2 months ago when I'm blowing your phone up, going, "What the hell do I do now?"
Yeah.
You know, but it's just a stress free environment, and it's fun. I mean, I don't know if anybody else, if you don't get jacked up about when stocks go up, I don't know, or down, even if you're shorting them, but
Yeah. It's exciting, man. It's exciting to be in the right position at the right time. But what's more exciting to me is realizing that you have this skill that you learned that's going to always be here. The stock market will always be here. So once you learn how to short, how to go long, how to buy and trade options, and you can hedge. And once you have all of these skill sets under your belt, day trading and all those things combined, investing, analyzing charts, analyzing companies, that's the skill that you have forever.
mm-hmm.
Forever. It's yours. It's there. It's not going to go away.
Oh yeah. Well, I even told you, I said if I had to quit my job tomorrow, I could grind out a living doing this.
Yeah.
Like in reality, I think everybody could that's in this community, whether you're just now starting or you're not. You know, you may have to change a few things, but I really think anybody could, especially if they listen to what you're putting out there. I mean, it's not like you're putting out there that stuff is wrong or it's a bubble or anything like that. Like you're legitimately teaching people a skill, and that's where it's game changing.
Love it, man. Any last minute advice that you would give people who are interested in learning how to trade and who are, or also have been trading and maybe they have a small account, $5,000 or less? What advice would you give them?
Buy low, sell high. No, just I mean, if you're in the stage where you're with a smaller account, create the plan that fits your account. Don't create a plan that you think you're going to get rich tomorrow. Create a realistic plan and stick to it. That's when I drastically became a profitable trader, was when at the retreat we sat down and built my plan. And from that moment on, I became a profitable trader comfortably and more stress free. Yeah, I was profitable every month before that, but it was very stressful. So just create that plan, stick to it, ask questions. Do not be afraid to ask questions. That's one thing that I've noticed in this group. Nobody makes fun of everybody or says, "Oh my God, that's a stupid question. Why the hell would you ask that?" Like, it's not one of those environments. Ask the questions, because what may be stupid to somebody else may be genius light bulb going off on top of their head for someone else. And, people are answering it. People will listen and people will help you. And we have a great community that helps one another. And I got a feeling there's going to be plenty more millionaires come out of this group not too long from now.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. I'll totally agree with you, man.
if
Totally.
Activision will go the other way.
What was that?
Only if Activision goes the other way.
Yeah, that's right. Go up, Activision. Go up.
Everybody go buy a video game now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I love it, dude. I think that's some really good advice. And I appreciate you sharing your time with me and just being here and being a part of the community, man. It's amazing to have your friendship and to know that you are absolutely without question going to fulfill all of your dreams and be an absolute incredible trader.
For sure. I appreciate that, man. And thank you. Thank you for, I can't tell you how many times I've said thank you to you, and I mean it. We are tight friends, and I consider you a brother. And just for what you've taught me and helped me with is life changing. And people, if you don't think, something to add to earlier is, if you don't think that coaching sessions help, that was the first thing that I said I was going to do, and I did it, and it probably cut off a year's worth of time of learning just from my coaching sessions. So highly recommend those with Matt, with Jeremy, with
Anyone. Yeah.
anyone. Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
if anybody wants help just talking over a plan and thinking out loud, I'm always here to help. I'm good at building plans, so if anybody's wanting to help, we'll set up a time and we'll get together, and maybe we join a mentorship group together.
Yeah, totally, man. Because that's the key, dude. Like it really is, man. It really is getting advice from people who've done it before. Because I have coaches too. Like I have stock market coaches, I have performance coaches, I have counselors, I have all kinds of mental experts I speak with. People who just kind of help me refine my game and just become a little bit better over time. That's the investing in yourself. That's the intangible asset that you're buying that feels weird initially when you buy it, because you're spending money on something that you don't know. Like, am I going to get anything from this? I don't know. Like maybe I might hope I want to, but it's intangible. I don't know for sure if I will, but if you go forward with it and really put in the time, energy, effort, and resources, you'll definitely get something for it for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
Love it, man. Rich, thank you so much for being here, brother. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Enjoyed it. Thank you for having me on.
Yep. My pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your boy, Richie Sowell, AKA Puddin' Sprinkles. Great guy, awesome trader, good friends, and next real life full-time trader, ladies and gentlemen. I love it.